What if I told you that you were making life harder than it needed to be without even realizing it? And I don't mean in some metaphorical way. I literally mean that you were going out of your way to create struggle in your life, to make things that should be simple complicated, and to turn away opportunities that are right in front of you every single day. And most of us do this without even knowing it. And it's not because we're broken, but it's because our brains have been primed to believe that life has to be hard and that without struggle, we don't deserve anything good. But the truth is that that belief is the anchor that keeps you stuck. And today I want to really show you how to finally let go of that belief. So let's start with where the story came from, that life must be hard. If you think about how you grew up, maybe it was the people that you loved, you watched them struggle, or school didn't come naturally to you, or nothing came naturally to you. Maybe you push yourself just to deserve a moment in your life of peace. I know for me, I definitely believe that if I didn't go through hell, if I didn't put myself through pain, I didn't deserve anything good. And that story of life must be hard, in the background, your brain is taking notes and your brain loves patterns. So it wants everything to make sense. So when you see struggle around you, when you experience obstacles, your brain goes, this is what life is supposed to be. Life is hard and good things require pain. And that perspective, really, you're going to try to recreate it throughout your life. And it's not because it's true, but it's because it feels familiar. And what feels familiar feels safe, even if it hurts you. This perspective shift changed the direction of my life because I realized that I was actively trying to recreate my past in my future because it seemed familiar and it was predictable. And we would choose predictable pain over an uncomfortable pleasure, which is like logically, I guess it makes sense to some respects because we want something that is, again, we can predict. But if it comes down to us creating our dream life, it comes down to us creating more opportunities in our future, we are literally going to go out of our way to ignore and dismiss opportunities that show up every single day in our life because it's different, because it's uncomfortable, because it's not familiar. So this is where psychology kicks in. Confirmation bias shows up, and the tendency to only notice things of information that we already believe. So if you believe life is hard, you're only going to notice things that confirm that. It's not because other things aren't showing up in your life, but you're choosing actively to filter out the things that you only believe, that only reinforces your belief. And then there's the desirability bias, which is you're going to pay attention to more things that align with the identity that you believe you deserve. So if you believe deep down that you don't deserve a life that is worthy of ease, your brain's going to subconsciously reject everything that feels too good. It's going to reject everything that you believe is not meant for you. This is why you miss signs. This is why you dismiss synchronicities in your life, because you tell yourself, this is too easy. This can't be for me. This is not meant for me. And it's not because the opportunity wasn't there, but it's because your brain literally filtered out before you even had the chance to see it. We all have beliefs that we take in from our childhood, from our parents, from the society that we grew up around, from society that we continue to live in our lives, that we actively choose to believe things that are not in our best interest because it serves that small version of ourselves. It serves the past version of ourselves that we no longer want to bring into our future. But because it is so familiar and because it's so hardwired in us to continue to recreate those in our life, we just actively dismiss things that show up right in our face that are literally like life presenting you with opportunities. I realized this when I became a life coach at 17. Made no sense. I didn't know what I was doing. I was listening to a podcast. At the end of the podcast, it was talking about coaching. I knew that I wanted to help people. I remember my mom and my sister telling me growing up that I wanted to be a motivational speaker when I was younger, like a very young kid. I didn't even know what that was. I'd never been introduced to a motivational speaker. I just knew I wanted to help people, like at an intuitive, like a real intuitive way. I just wanted to help people from such a young age. I didn't have anyone introduce me to motivational speaking, so it made no sense why I wanted to do that before I even knew what that was. And I got into coaching, and motivational speaking doesn't resonate with me at this exact moment, but it's kind of what I'm doing right now, right? I didn't know what I wanted to do, but at the end of one of the podcasts I was listening to, they were talking about a coaching program. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know what that could lead to, but I just trusted it. I spent more money than I had in my bank account, and it led me down a path that I'm currently like so grateful that I went down today. But it was because I trusted that synchronicity. I trusted that my intuition, when it felt right. It was scary, but it felt right. And trusting that was the exact thing that was like, hey, life's presenting me with an opportunity. I'm going to choose to believe that it is working in my favor and I could take action on this. But for so much of my life, I felt like life was working against me. I felt like life was like pushing me down. And I think many people, if things in your life, obstacles show up in your life, and you look for them and you choose to believe that life is working against you, all of the things that show up in your life, it's just going to reinforce that belief. I know for me, like my grandfather, my uncle, and my father all passed away at a really young age. And my grandfather or my grandmother, for example, she believes that she is a very unlucky person. She lost her husband and she lost one of her sons. And what's funny is that I also lost him too. I lost my father when I was 6, and my grandfather passed a few months before his retirement. And so those men meant just as much to me as they did to her. But for some reason, we had the exact same thing happen to us, but we chose to believe different things about what had happened. For most of my childhood, I believed that life is working against me. Why are all the men being taken from me before I even get the chance to really build a relationship with them? It's unfortunate, but I choose to believe that life is working in my favor. It's made me a stronger person. It's made me a more resilient person. It's made me a more empathetic person. And I not only believe that I'm a lucky person, but those exact experiences, I just chose to believe something different about them. And so ultimately, life starts to work in my favor. Ultimately, I gain something from those experiences rather than being taken something from those experiences. So the truth that really nobody else tells you is that you have to unlearn this belief that life must be hard. Because once you do that, your entire reality is going to shift. Once you actually start to believe that life is working in your favor, suddenly you start noticing things that were always right in front of you. But instead of seeing obstacles, you start seeing the opportunities that were right in front of you. Synchronicities stop feeling random, and they start feeling like guidance. They start feeling like this is what life was presenting me with, and I'm going to take action on it because I trust that it is working, it is moving me in the right direction. And you stop sabotaging yourself because you don't believe that you don't deserve them. You actually believe that life is working in your favor because you take on that belief and you choose to believe it. And you finally give yourself the chance to actually see how much life really is working in your favor, because it is. It always has been. It always will. But you are going to filter out whatever you choose to believe. So you can actively choose that life is working against you. You can choose to believe that life is never on your side, that you're an unlucky person. And I'm sure you'll see all of that in your life because you're choosing to believe it. And it's unfortunate that it is this way, right? If we're not conscious that what we choose to believe is what we're going to see in our life, we're just going to choose to believe that life is always presenting us with obstacles because life isn't easy, right? Like life is not supposed to be quote unquote easy, but life can be so much easier if you actively look for the ways that it's working in your favor versus how it's working against you. And you choose to believe that everything that is happening to you is happening for you because life will present you with people, places, things, circumstances, all to reveal to you where you are not free. And so if you're able to gain something from the worst case scenarios in your life, you are also able to see the greatness that is happening right in front of your face every single day. But at the end of the day, it's a choice that you have to make because when you remove that filter, life doesn't automatically just magically get better. It doesn't just get perfect, but it becomes clearer. It becomes lighter. It becomes more aligned. Life starts to feel like it is like flowing with you rather than flowing against you. So my challenge to you is to start questioning that belief. Start questioning all the beliefs. Start asking yourself when things happen to you, how is this happening for me? Because I'm sure that once you start asking those questions and when you start looking for what you're going to gain from something rather than looking for how it's going against you, you'll realize that it was always working for you. This mindset shift will genuinely change the direction of your life entirely. It's not just a shift because you will start acting in different ways. Because if you start to believe that life is working in your favor, your behavior will reflect that. And ultimately, if your behavior changes, your results in your life will change. And again, it'll go right back to the beliefs that you choose to believe about the world. And you will start to see more synchronicities. You'll start to see more opportunities. You'll start to believe in yourself and you'll start to believe that life is working for you. Life isn't always going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of times where you are very much challenged to remind yourself that life is working for you. And you're challenged to see where it is working for you in times where it feels like it's not. But again, at the end of the day, it's a choice. And hopefully you choose different after this video.